From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight,
Ijoma Oyato.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Lagos State Governor asks the President to order closure of all borders with Ebola-infested countries, also dismisses fears of more Ebola cases in Lagos. APC and PDP trade words over huge security presence in Osun State ahead of the President's visit. New Inspector General of Police Sulaiman Abba takes over, promises safety and security for all Nigerians. And Gaza-Israeli truce crumbles 2 hours after coming into effect, with each side accusing the other of breaching the ceasefire.
On Business News tonight, Nigeria and Ghana to establish regulatory council to monitor prohibited goods from both nations.
And on sports news tonight, Nigeria teenager Chika Malaha faces 2-year ban as the Commonwealth Games Federation stripped her of a weightlifting gold medal after failing a dope test.
We begin tonight with the shake-up in the top management of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, the NNPC. News reaching us from the presidency says that the NNPC Group Managing Director, Dr. Andrew Yakubu, has been sacked along with his team. According to the President's media advisor, Dr. Ruben Abati, the sack is with immediate effect. Already, the President has announced a replacement. He is Dr. Joseph Tamadawa, while Mr. Anthony Ugonna Mwokeke takes over the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company as Managing Director. Others are Ms. Aisha Abdulrahman as Group Executive Director, Commercial and Investment, NNPC, and Dr. Atahir Yusuf, who is now Group Executive Director, Business Development, NNPC. The new Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Dawa, hails from Borno State. He was previously the Group Executive Director, Exploration and Production of the NNPC, and the Managing Director of Integrated Data Services Limited, a subsidiary of the company. Now, there's been mounting anxiety in Lagos, the metropolis, after an Ebola victim died in a hospital here. The fear was that all those who had contact with him before his death may have been infected. But the Lagos State Governor, Babatunde Fashola, is assuring everyone that there's no cause for alarm. He says medical records after examination have shown that those suspected to be at risk after Mr. Patrick Sawyer died in Lagos are all in good health. At a World Press Conference today in Lagos, Governor Fashola also urged the federal government to close its borders with countries in the sub-region.
The governor was away for the Lesser Hajj in Saudi Arabia when the news about the Ebola virus broke in Lagos. Now that he is back and having been briefed, he confirms that Lagos is now free of Ebola.
People must embrace more contemporary hygiene standards, wash their hands regularly with soap and water, stop indiscriminate dispersal of human waste, urine and feces. People should stop urinating in public. It should stop. And health workers should be at the highest alert. I'm told by the commissioner today that they have finished the decontamination of first consultants, so they will get the appropriate global certification that is necessary at the appropriate time for the hospital to reopen. Help us also contain panic messages. People shouldn't panic, they should stay calm. We have very, very good professionals in charge of this, working at the state and federal level. So that said, I think all will be well.
But there's more to be done to ensure safety of all Nigerians, and here the governor believes that the federal government has a key role to play. He suggests immediate closure of the borders linking the Ebola-infected countries.
This is no longer a local problem, it's an international problem. The because it is easily transmittable across borders and boundaries. The federal government team has been working with our local team here, and I think what the federal government needs to seriously consider is the imperative of closing some of our borders. I think from what I gather, unless the spread of the virus is localized, it becomes increasingly more difficult to stop its epidemic. And we must now choose treaty obligations that we hold under the ECOWAS treaty and perhaps short-term benefits in terms of economic cost to human life. We must make that choice and consider it very seriously. It's a national security issue, and I think that we should give it that prompt attention. Quite aside from that, I think that the men and women who man our border posts at the sea ports, at the airports, and at the land ports, especially customs and immigration, now know that they are our first line of defense. What happens going forward depends on how professionally they act.
The Minister of Health, Professor Yebuchi Chukwu, declared an Ebola outbreak in Nigeria following the confirmation of Ebola virus disease in a Liberian who flew from Monrovia into Lagos. The state government gives more information on key steps taken so far.
On our list here, we have 70. These are people who have been in contact in one way or the other with the case. Those are the ones that we are following up. And luckily, all the people there, some of them, the critical ones whose blood have been taken, the results have come out negative. Any case that has no death certificate or any suspicion death certificate should not be handled by them. It should alert us first before they handle such cases.
Now that those suspected of being infected are cleared, deliberate actions must be taken to prevent another unpleasant case in the state.
Well, there had also been panic in Anambra State. People were frightened following news that an indigent who died of Ebola had been deposited in a mortuary in Oyi local government area. But Governor Willie Obiano has today cleared the air, dismissing speculations about an outbreak of the virus. Governor Obiano says precautionary measures have been put in place to stop entry of corpses without accompanying medical records.
Nkwele, Ezunaka, a semi-urban community in Oyi local government area of Anambra State that lies on the major road that leads to Onitsha and Otuocha, has been peaceful until the news broke of a corpse being flown from Monrovia, where Ebola has ravaged so many families. It caused quite a stir, for according to the President General of the community, the dead man who was from the neighboring Nandu community in Anambra East local government area, with no medical report to prove he died of the Ebola disease.
The person is not from Ukwele, Ezunaka. The corpse was flown from Liberia, but the person was from Nando. You know, Apex mortuary serves the whole of this area environment, not just Nkwele.
According to Mr. Elumono, the morgue has been cordoned off and heavy security presence and constant monitoring to ensure no entry and exit movement.
First of all, it has not been determined that the guy died of Ebola. That has not been determined. The mortuary has been sealed off. All the staff have been moved for tests, and until that is done, the corpse cannot be moved out of the mortuary, and we cannot say that he died of Ebola.
A drive down the mortuary confirmed the statement of the President General, as the police and vigilante personnel were everywhere. Reacting to the incident, the state governor discountenanced the rumor of the outbreak of the deadly disease in the state and assured of a competent investigation into the cause of the death.
From preliminary reports we have so far, there's no Ebola incident at all. But we are taking precautions. I've told the police not to allow any corpse to be brought into Anambra by road or by air if that corpse does not have a certificate as to cause of death. This is only precautionary measure. That's what we should do as a responsible governor of Anambra State to protect our people. There's no Ebola incident in Anambra at all, and by the grace of God, there won't be any.
In an interaction with the people to find out their knowledge of the dreaded viral disease, they bared their minds and stated that such disease has not been detected among them.
The thing I hear from Ebola is they have the sickness from bats and monkey. And I hear that the doctor who is still treating the sickness, and the sickness killed the doctor.
The bottom line of the entire scenario in Anambra State is that the Ebola virus incident is said to be established, and until then, the governor has called on all to be calm.
Now, staying with the Ebola crisis, one of the biggest challenges facing leaders in the West African sub-region is how to reduce the spread of the dreaded disease. But it's not only African leaders that are worried about that. Even the World Health Organization is concerned that the outbreak is spreading faster than efforts to control it. For this reason, $100 million is already being raised by the WHO to fight the spread in West Africa. The head of the World Health Organization, Margaret Chan, told concerned leaders today in Guinea that the worst hit countries are Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. In the meantime, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority says it has lifted the suspension it placed on ASCI Airlines. The airline is said to own the plane that flew the Ebola victim into Lagos from Monrovia. Having taken all measures to forestall a recurrence, the NCAA lifted the suspension today. Already, ASCI Airlines has announced suspension of flights to Sierra Leone and Monrovia indefinitely. According to the General Manager, Public Affairs of the NCAA, having carefully examined measures put in place to stop the spread of the disease, especially the suspension of flights into Ebola-affected countries, the management of NCAA hereby lifts the temporary suspension placed on your flights into and out of Nigeria. End of quote. In part 2, after the break, misplaced priorities. That's how the campaigners calling for the rescue of the Chibok girls have described the launch of the Terrorism Victim Support Fund.